All right, so what's going on, guys? So as I mentioned in my other video, that cheap bearing puller I got from Harbor Freight, it didn't work. So I went back and returned it. So I got this set here. It cost me like 60 bucks with the 20% off coupon. So it is more expensive than the other one, but it does include more pieces, and hopefully this does the job. So you open it up. What you have is there's a slide hammer in here, which I already took out. And you got these 4 attachments. Now this is the largest attachment. And what you can see is that this is still not gonna fit. So this right here is the outer ring of the old input shaft bearing. And what I need to do is get behind it so I can pull up on it. And as you can see, this is the biggest one, and this is not gonna fit. It's not even close. Even for the output shaft, again, still not even close to fitting. What I kind of rigged up is, so this is the slide hammer here. So in case you're not familiar with the slide hammer, it's just a rod with a weighted handle on it. And when you go to pull something, you just pull the weight up, and that force should pull it off. But what I did, I took a different attachment, a smaller attachment, and stuck this washer on the end of it. So even though this is still not big enough, I think it'll give me enough leverage on this ring to be able to pop it out with this hammer. So I'm gonna set the camera up and we'll see how that works. There we go. So it took a couple times, but the ring came out. You see, like I said, this is the old outer portion of that input shaft bearing. So that's one out. Now I gotta see if I can get this output shaft out. This one, I'm gonna need a different washer, but I'm gonna try the same technique and see if I can get this out.
Eventually.
All right, guys, so Trey's going home. We did have to get a little creative with the output bearing because it was a pain to get out. None of the pullers that I had that came with that Harbor Freight slide hammer were big enough to pull that outer ring out. So what we end up doing is just welding this washer into the center of that bearing and then stuck the puller inside of here and then use this to pull this out. That thing was definitely a huge pain in the butt to get out. But the rest of it's pretty simple. We install the new input bearing. There's this little C-clip here that you have to take out. What you need is some needle nose pliers. You just put them on the opening of that ring. And I actually use a hammer to help tap them off, and you can get that ring off. Just make sure you don't lose it because it will fly. This bearing, then you just slide the bearing on up to about here. Now what I did, because you need something to help get the bearing onto the shaft, is I used the end of my handle here. I took this off. That way it slips over this shaft, and you can use that to help tap on the center of this to push this bearing all the way down and seat it. And like I said, you'll know once it's seated because that little clip sits in a groove. The same thing with the output shaft bearing. It has another one of those C-clips. I got the new seal, got the new output shaft bearing, the outer ring of it. And my advice that if you don't have to replace this, then don't. It just wasn't worth the headache. You probably added an extra couple hours onto it just by trying to get this thing out and having to be creative with the welder. But I did take the time again to clean up the inside of the case while I was in here, just some brake cleaner and some water. So next we're just gonna get these shafts put back together, get them reinstalled, and hopefully be driving the car. And in case you're wondering, I'm just using this old Harbor Freight flux welder that I've had forever. It does a decent job. But nothing I would use for any like safety device or anything that was like critical to the car's performance. But for little jobs like that, it does the job. Like other than that, this job is actually pretty simple. Try to take a lot of pictures so you can see how things go together, and just take your time. And like I said, if you don't need to replace that output shaft bearing, don't. Like I said, it was a pain in the butt. The input shaft bearing came out fairly easily, as you guys saw. But I wouldn't recommend messing with the output if you don't have to. Now, unfortunately, it's got late, so I'm gonna catch you guys in the morning. Trey's gonna come back and we'll get this thing finished up.
Check it. Put you both back.
All right, let go. So yeah, the clip's open. Let's put a couple bolts in here, and we're gonna take it and just kind of just drop it on this piece of wood. You'll hear it clip. Your gear stack will slide, and then your clip will hold it. Yeah. So all bolts are in now. And what we're about to do now is set this clip up top. Just take the transmission up.
It'll be.
Zoom out. Zoom in on the tip.
I'm not sure what it is.
Just a little bit, and then just kind of drop it on the wood. All right. Let's pick it down.
Pick it down.
Lift it up. Hit the clip. Yeah. Clip. Just clip. The clip set. Sitting in that groove now. Good to go. Now let's get this reverse gear on. Screwdriver you had earlier.
Alright, so we got everything buttoned back up. We'll just show you the difference. You saw how it was before when the input shaft bearing was bad. If you look here, there's actually quite a bit of play in that. But now there's literally no play in that. Don't do what I did. Check that before you get started, because that might be an issue. It is a common problem with these transmissions. Man, save yourself the headache of having to do it twice. Alright guys, so there you go. Looks like we've got a success. The noise is gone. Now I haven't put everything back together. I was just anxious to see if it would still be making that noise or not. But now that I know the noise is gone, I can button everything back up. Now one thing I did notice, I do have a leak right here on the inspection plate. That's why I didn't put enough silicone on the inside. But other than that, that seems to be the only real issue. And I might be able to patch that without draining the fluid back out, but we'll see how that goes. Other than that, I can finally get to clean up my wires, put everything back together. All right, guys, so I do have to apologize. I did have a bit of a fail. I took the car out for the first test drive, and I decided not to take my main camera and instead use my phone to record the footage. Turns out I can't actually get that footage off my phone, or at least it's not compatible with the software I use to edit, so I can't use it. And I've already started to break the car down so I can clean up some of the wiring and some of the other issues I had. It's kind of cliche, is that this thing feels like a whole new car. It feels faster, it feels torquier. You can definitely tell there's not as much load on the engine now because it revs a lot more quickly. It's still slow. That hadn't changed. I didn't really give it any more power. It's still underpowered. But, you know, it's definitely a lot better than it was. A couple things to note. This being an 02, I really didn't think past an 01. If you do something similar, you will have a check engine light. And you do have to do some work with the ECU to get your speedometer and stuff to work. So right now, the reverse lights work, the tachometer works. Again, I just have to clean up this wiring that I pointed out to you guys earlier, but you have to do some work at the ECU to get the speedo to work. Now, after doing some research, I did find a guy who claims he figured out how to get rid of the check engine light even with the auto ECU. So, of course, I'll document that, show you guys if that works or not. Now, if it doesn't work, of course, I do still have the manual ECU and harness from the Eclipse. It's another benefit of having that parts car. Making a complete engine harness is going to be a little bit more difficult than just swapping over a few wires to get the check engine light to cut off. So that's really it, guys. All in all, I definitely recommend doing this project here at Galana if it's something that you're interested in doing. If only just to have something that's unique. You're not going to see too many of these cars running around that are manual swapped. The project isn't really all that difficult, but if you have the space, I definitely recommend getting a parts car just to save yourself some money. But the swap is pretty straightforward. Just allow yourself a couple days to do it. So thank you guys for watching my video. Please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Remember to share this with other people you know are interested in doing this in the Galana community. And I'll catch you guys later.